Autonomous zones, huh? Not going to end well for him.
What's up, guys? Benny. Minneapolis is in a state of absolute and total insurrection against the federal government, and the rot runs deep. Just a reminder that Tim Walz is from Detroit. He's not from Minneapolis. Neither is the mayor of Minneapolis from Minneapolis. That dude's from, like, New York. The Democrats brought in an entire slate of people that aren't from Minnesota. The police chief isn't from Minnesota either. He's married to a communist, too. Everybody who's running Minneapolis has been installed, set up, in order to engage in a massive fraud against the American people. And it all makes sense now, because if you go ahead and read Cloward Piven, these are two professors from back.
I've been talking about that shit for fucking years. I'm glad somebody on that's got some popularity that's actually talking about it, because we sure as hell can't hear Alex Jones's points anymore on YouTube. Dude, yes, let this motherfucker cook real quick.
In the 1960s and 70s, as to how to bring about communism with a capitalist welfare state. What you need is to import people who will take advantage of that welfare state, who will collapse it under the burden of their own fiduciary obligations. So you need to bring in Somali scammers, who each one of them will cost and charge the American public millions and millions of dollars, bills we can't pay. The debtor of those bills is Communist China. Tim Walz is tied to Communist China. That's how you collapse a capitalist system, right? Destroy the welfare state from the inside. Too many people on the welfare rolls, and the entire system then atrophies from there. The dollar becomes worthless. And they're doing that in Minneapolis. They brought in a population of people that were so criminal, that were so, again, nobody's ever explained why 100,000 Somalis were dumped into Minneapolis. Tim Walz and his network is a protection mechanism for the fraud. The fraud is the goal. The fraud is the goal of the Marxists in order to bring about Marxism in America. And so that is why everything seems so heavily organized in Minneapolis. You can see here in the signal chats, these are not people that are messing around. They are using official state authorities in order to track ICE. They're getting license plates read. They're able to track IDs. They're able to perform their own security services. These are not the police officers. This is something wholly and totally different. Again, Tim Walz is a committed Maoist. He's a committed Marxist. He is not in any sense like somebody who believes in American democracy,
clearly,
freedom, or constitutional rights. Tim Walz is somebody who is a trained Marxist, and he's gone to China a lot of times. You have to ask yourself, like, wait a second. At what point do you just consider him a foreign state actor on our nation? And then you can see the way that he's behaving here. They're attacking independent journalists, doing exactly the same kind of stuff that you would see in communist China.
Mm-hmm.
And James O'Keefe was tracked and followed yesterday, nearly killed, got a number of death threats, where they were able to say what kind of a car that he was driving in, where it was from, name the license plate and the registration. James O'Keefe talking about how they were viciously attacked and how they were effectively trying to murder him yesterday, attacking his security, patting them down like they were the authorities, these communists, because they do believe that they are running Minneapolis, and that there is no more law enforcement and no more rights in Minneapolis. And so now you're seeing a new Chaz and CHOP being built. Remember Chaz in Seattle? Communists there try to create an autonomous zone where no police force could have any presence or any power. No federal force could have any presence or power. And you can see here they're building one right now. No ICE zone. Protesters have declared.
Dude, I don't know why people think this is going to fucking work. Like I've said before, you're delaying the inevitable. Just because you say that there are no cops allowed does not mean that people aren't going to bust that shit down. The laws are still on the books. You guys are just collecting more and more retards and finding ways to break more of the laws. You're just building up a rap sheet. Go ahead, keep building it up. They're going to fucking lock you up, and it's going to be real bad. Keep playing.
Declared Minneapolis Autonomous Zone. Site of today's shooting, the zone has 2 layers of makeshift walls in both directions. It appears to be protected by the Minneapolis Police Department and Tim Walz's National Guard. The no-go zone in Minneapolis is getting fully stocked. Pop-up leftist supply depot, free hand warmers, winter gear, coffee, food, milk, you name it. professional grade logistics. Somebody is bankrolling the autonomous zone. The insurrectionists are staging a conflict. They're taking over an entire block. They're going to call this a new communist Chaz. Palestinian and Mexican flags are now flying in the autonomous zone.
You know what's crazy though? Is that the way they've set this up, the fucking leftoid retards that are over there doing this shit, they've set this up in such a way that, like, you know, because they're putting their own citizens that don't actually sit on their side of the aisle at risk, the ones that are just sitting at home. And if they want to move somewhere and they're getting stopped, I don't know, man, you're going to cause a civil war, and it's not going to have anything to do with ICE or the police. I don't know where you're going to start getting shot by civilians. They're just tired of your shit. You guys need to watch out. Like, you really need to watch out. What you're doing right now is, I don't think you realize the ramifications of this long term, even if it gets to a point of long term.
In Minneapolis.
And you can see these young people in the shiny vests. They've actually stopped traffic. They're pretty well organized. They've got walkie-talkies and they replace each other. But basically, they've stopped traffic. So you can see this is expanding now from just one block where the shooting took place. Now it's moving out into other blocks. We were going to pull out of our car and they said, oh no, you can't go. So you have people in shiny vests really directing traffic, controlling the streets, saying who can go where. No, you can't drive away because I'm in the shiny vest and I'm telling you you can. So
No, fuck that.
it seems in control not just of one street where the shooting took place, but now multiple streets as several thousand people have joined this protest from a vigil.
Incredible.
This is
Minnesota National Guard is now defending the insurgents' autonomous zone, keeping ICE out. In addition to independent journalists, look at this. The Minnesota National Guard is using American-made, American-purchased with federal tax dollars, heavy movers.
No, dude. Nope. Trump needs to remove all federal aid from Minnesota. Period. Just all of it. Not one fucking penny until they start enforcing the laws. They need to do that. No fucking help at all.
Munitions, implements in order to enforce communism on Minneapolis. You have all that you need for the Insurrection Act.
Yeah.
It's time to remind people of Chop Chaz in Seattle in 2020, several blocks barricaded by protesters. No signs of slowing down. Minneapolis, anti-ICE protesters opposing deportations. They have built a border wall. The irony is dripping. The creation of an autonomous zone notably deepens embedded American anarchist and Antifa ideology. This is not a spontaneous thing. This is being funded. Look at these supplies that are pouring in for this so-called autonomous zone. This is actually extremely well-funded left-wing agitation. Who is funding this?
Alex Soros, probably?
Who is funding this? Local autonomous zone in Minneapolis, protected by local police.
Yep.
They endorse it. Look at this. Here are the local cops driving over the no ICE zone. Chalk. Minneapolis is on fire, and Tim Walz endorses the autonomous zone. Should we worry? The mayors and governors are inciting an insurrection. Who will give in first? This is about wars all over the world. Get back to the basics of world peace. Tim Walz is letting the autonomous zone take over Minneapolis. A third world dump. Tear it down now. Real
Yep.
Americans demand that our nation be restored.
Dude, these fuckers are so selfish, too, because it's like, dude, not just y'all live in Minnesota. There are plenty of other people that are just trying to live their fucking life. And you are putting them in a fucked up place. It doesn't matter what they voted for. They're just being peaceful, staying at home, but they can't get from A to B because y'all fucking retards are in the way. You're being incredibly fucking selfish right now.
Autonomous zone in Minneapolis, man. Look at this. They're against border walls, except for, well, this one. It's always Minneapolis. Why is it always Minneapolis?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because this is where they're staging their revolution, man.
The people that say there are no borders created an autonomous zone. Like, the irony is wild. It's so fucking stupid. No kings, but, you know, release the dictator. Let the fuck, dude, it's just so fucking brain dead.
This is it. They got their guy in. Tim Walz. They got their guy in. I keep hearing Tim Walz, Jacob Frey, Amy Klobuchar, Tim Smith lie about these protesters are peaceful. They bit off an ICE agent's finger Don't Google it, man. It's disgusting.
Really?
Bit off an ICE agent's finger today. Throwing rocks, throwing frozen water bottles, trying to kill journalists. Minneapolis boards up permanently as rioters declare autonomous zone.
We don't have to live
You know,
like
they
this,
killed
man.
Charlie Kirk, who was a national figure in our movement and
Absolutely.
somebody would have been president for sure. One of the single most powerful voices of an entire generation, and they didn't board up a single business.
No, of
because
course
they're right.
not.
But now, in Minneapolis, you deport a couple of rapists, criminally alienated rapists, and they have to board up their businesses.
Yep.
What does that tell you about the difference between each movement?
It's very obvious, bro. So
what
obvious.
they stand for, and which one cares about the future of America. The autonomous zone is inherently an act of rebellion and insurrection, both of which can be rightfully and should be rightfully ended by the military. Activate the Insurrection Act. You should do it.
They should have done that yesterday, dude.
Make them fight the U.S. military
Yesterday.
on camera. Show America who these people are. We will continue to do that. Here. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See ya.
These people are fucking retarded, man. They're going down a pipeline. I don't think they realize what the end point is. Why would you sacrifice for yourself for somebody that's just going to steal from you? I don't get it.